Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cat Talk Radio. I'm your host, Molly DeVos, and today we're going to do something a little different. If you're listening to the podcast, you might pop over to our YouTube channel because we have videotaped this episode as well, because we have some great visuals to show you. This episode is all about how to tell whether your cat is in pain. And this is focusing around an app, actually, an AI app that looks at your cat and delivers information. We'll talk a lot more about that today, but first I want to introduce Dr. Liz Bales. We're very excited to have her with us today. She's actually the Chief Medical Officer and Primary Veterinarian Consultant for Tably app. She's also a veterinarian and an educator and a writer and a speaker. And you may be familiar with her and her name because she's the founder of Doc and Phoebe's cat company. She's the inventor of the hunting feeder for cats, which is an excellent mental stimulation and foraging tool. So we're excited to have you with us today, Dr. Bales. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to be here.
Great. Well, let's talk about this app. I want everybody to just kind of let them know in general what it is. So it's called Tably, Tably, and currently it's only available for iPhones, not Androids. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but it's developed by a company called Sylvester.ai, and it's an AI-based remote patient monitoring, which actively monitors your cat's health, and it analyzes those really subtle, feline facial cues, and they report to have over 90% precision. Now, you and I were talking before the show about how you and I are both, in the cat field, and we see cats and cat behavior and look at cats and analyze all day long. And we both feel like we'd be pretty good at doing that. But and clearly you're involved with this company and helping to guide that. But do you feel like it does it better than humans do?
100%. It does it better than I do. And I've been cat focused in my career for more than 20 years, and it does it better than me.
That's great. And how does it work? Try to explain to everybody kind of how it actually works.
So the cues that a human being gives to explain non-verbally that we're in pain are also how we understand that someone or something else is in pain, right? So it might make you can think about it. If I went like, you would know what? I have a headache, right? Like I touched my temple. For you guys that aren't watching, I touched my temple. I kind of squinted my eyes and I made a little noise showing I was unpleasant. So that's how you know I'm suffering. And we could go over, the details of how I would communicate to you non-verbally of different ways that I was uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Cats have evolved in an entirely different way. They really don't use muscles of facial expression the way the humans do at all to communicate whether they're in pain or not. Unless they're in extreme pain, they really don't vocalize. So for the most part, we're mismatched. The way that we have the capability of decoding whether something that we love is in pain, we're just not going to pick up their signals. And even when we're highly trained on what those signals are, they're pretty darn subtle. Yeah. And so for a cat who is being very expressive about their pain, someone like you or I that's trained, we're going to get it. Mm-hmm. But a cat that's not as expressive, maybe they're managing arthritis, and it's just every day is like, maybe they're managing some GI discomfort that isn't exquisite pain, and they're kind of used to it, but I just don't feel good. I might not pick up those cues, but there are experts who have worked really, really hard on matching the facial cues that a cat gives with extreme precision to the pain that they're in. Mm-hmm. And for the expert, I remember getting this email, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that. And it had all these pictures of cats, and it was a quiz sent around by the
Yeah.
people developing the feline grimace score. And
Ah,
they said, which cat is in pain? And on their end, they knew which cats were in pain because they had had a surgery or had something done that they could validate. This cat absolutely is in pain. And I got a terrible score. I got like 30% correct. And I was a cat enthusiast, becoming really that catcher my entire career. And I was like, well, how do you know? How do
yeah,
you know? But so those scientists who were developing that were able to match those little changes in the cat's face to 100% know that that cat is in pain. What Tabley has done is taken the tool of artificial intelligence, which is a mind-blowing
yeah,
tool. And there are lots of ways to which AI, artificial intelligence, is used for things that are not great. But it also can do remarkable things that are amazing. And what Tabley has done is use this artificial intelligence technology to be able to map the changes in a cat's face, and with greater than 90% accuracy, which is more than any human,
yeah.
be able to say that cat is in pain or it's not in pain.
That's amazing. So it sounds like it too, it would be what an amazing tool for veterinarian clinics to have for their vet techs and assistants to use when they're checking up on cats that have followed surgery or something, right?
On so many different levels, yes. So the obvious is that, how's my pain management working?
Mhm.
Let's say, I had a broken leg and I had repaired it surgically. We know that's got to hurt, right? But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a lot of veterinarians were even trained that it's better to not give them pain management so they won't use it and they'll heal better. That was an ongoing philosophy. If you think about that for a human being who had had a surgical procedure on their leg, there is no way we would ask a human to endure that without their consent.
Right.
So now we have more pain management tools. Well, how are they working? And any medicine that you give has benefits and some negative side effects. So at what point does my cat not need it anymore?
Hmm.
Hadley can answer all of these questions. And really incredible for cases like this because we can chart it over time. So let's say I have my broken leg. I really needed my pain management days 1 through 7. Day 8 and 9, it was like, so I'm just going to give it anyway. 10, 11, 12. Now I'm getting, my cat's doing great. I don't need my pain management anymore. Well, what about if I took it on day 18 and it showed my cat in pain again?
Yeah.
Maybe it's unrelated. Maybe I have a problem with my surgery and something shifted and the cat's in pain. And not only do I want my cat to not be in pain, I want to know, how's my surgery doing? Is there an infection? Is there, a problem? Did the wire or the pin move in a way that I really need to address? Before this tool, the cat parent would have to, number one, be watching for that. Number two, recognize it and then communicate it to me, the veterinarian. And then the veterinarian, would have to have the tools to say, yeah, we should be looking more, or no, looks fine. Because a cat in pain, a lot of the time, will look like a resting cat.
Yeah. It's very hard to tell if they're in pain. And this reminds me of I fostered a cat that had buckshot. Someone had actually shot this cat, and there was buckshot lodged near the spine that they couldn't operate on, and there was buckshot in the legs, and we ended up amputating the leg. And so I fostered this cat for a long time. His name's Blueberry. pretty blue guy, big round blueberry head, and a very good friend of mine adopted him. Well, she called me, I don't know, a couple years after she adopted him and said he stopped using the litter box. And I went over and looked at him and I said, I think he's developing some scar tissue around that buckshot and he's got some discomfort. And when he's going to the box, it's, the way he's bending down to go is hurting him. And so he's seeking other places to go. So she takes him to the vet, and sure enough, vet confirms that and starts him on a daily gabapentin regime. And then they give him a pain medication shot. They started out about every 4 weeks. And she would tell me, I think it's wearing off quicker. And she told me this just the other day when we were over for dinner. I think I'm going to have to start giving those shots, every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe, because I can tell that it's wearing off quicker. And this is going to be ideal for her. I can't wait for her to get the app downloaded so she can
And
use
there's a feature in there where you can store the information over time, and we'll show you a graph.
Mm-hmm.
So, in January and February, it only lasted 3 weeks. March, it only lasted 2.5 weeks. But as it got warmer, it was lasting longer. And so next year you could say, you know what, maybe I'll just schedule it to get in front of it, since I know that the cat has a harder time when it's cold out, or as the cat's aging.
Yeah.
So we know that why is it more painful? Well, are they having arthritis, more scar tissue? Things are progressing. And whereas, let's say when the cat was 5 years old, I would get the signal that my cat's in pain from the app twice a month. Well, now I'm getting it half the days of the month. Mm-hmm. And at what point do I start to evaluate quality of life if my pain medicine isn't effective? So the importance of this tool reaches so many different parts of cat care. I wanted to say also, when we talk about in the veterinary hospital, veterinary professionals struggle to learn about how to perceive physical and emotional pain for cats. And so having a tool that, let's say, day one, when I got out of vet school, a painful cat looked exactly the same to me as a not painful cat. But if I could use my app, it would show me there was a difference. And so now I'm going to develop, number one, the skills to know the difference. And number two, empathy. If I don't know you're in pain, maybe I perceive when you're hissing at me when I'm going in the cage, or giving me a hard time when I'm trying to give you a pill. I see this cat is mean. I do not like this cat. I don't want to work on this cat. It's mean. I'm afraid of it. If I know you're in pain, then I think, I'm so sorry. It's terrible that you're in pain. Let me help you. And I'm going to approach you totally differently, because I have this information that allows me to think differently about your experience.
Yeah, that's important. And so it measures, for instance, it measures the 5 facial cues, right? The ear position, orbital tightening, and muscle tension, and where the whiskers are, and the head position. All of that sounds very close to, the Kessler and Turner stress score charts that we use in behavior analysis to try to analyze a cat's stress level. Does it do that as well, or is it specifically looking at pain and not necessarily level of stress, or are they hand in hand?
I love this question, because we don't have the answer to that yet. When the scale was developed, it was developed with a certainty about a physical pain. So for instance, we could say this cat was declawed. We know it's in agony. So I can tell what the facial expression is. It is my very firm belief that emotional pain looks almost exactly like physical pain. Yeah. The thing about artificial intelligence that's so amazing is that it works both backwards and forwards, in terms of, we can look back on all this data and see now, if we know that emotional pain, let's say we think it looks like instead of the ears being just to the side, it's side and down. I'm guessing here, right? I can go forward and test that hypothesis. And then with that information, I can put calculations into my AI that allow me to go backwards and confirm it too. And so as this technology develops, and as our understanding of how to use the tool develops, our ability to learn so much more with a lot more certainty is there. And I'm really excited about that, because particularly cats, as I said, we have such a hard time interpreting what's going on with them.
Right.
And therefore, even the most loving, well-meaning person is missing that we could do things better for them. And so if we get these tools to really understand, what an amazing, lovely world that would be.
Now, things like, it makes me wonder too, like with orbital tightening, when a cat is giving you a slow blink, I look at my cat and he's giving me the I love you look. He's trying to get me to do something usually. And as he slow blinks, his ears kind of do a little tweak, little twerk, like right out to the side, and he slow blinks. And if I caught that on camera at that precise moment, that's probably going to look like pain, right?
Yes and no. So it measures more than one variable. So that's why it's also looking at how scrunched the cheek is, the position of the curvature of the mouth, and are the whiskers pointing forwards or backwards. So if this is where what they call the confidence interval comes in. So if I have 2 signs of pain and 3 signs of not, my confidence interval goes down. So I can say that this is where on the app, it says good day, bad day, or meh. I don't know. It's not super and it's not terrible. So this is where, and as this technology grows and as the app grows, we can be more and more helpful with asking questions. So you or I, this is our whole life, right? So if I'm getting this information from Tably that says, I don't know, then you can say, well, he's also not jumping up on his favorite resting spots. And he also didn't come when I walked in the door. And he also didn't eat his dinner. I'm going to go to the vet. But if you're not like totally invested in being a cat scientist, like, I don't know what that means. He looks fine. I think the app must be wrong. He's fine. So then there are some questions. Did he eat? Is the activity normal? And to give you more of a sense of what do I do with that information? And people will say, my cat is purring and they look great to me. The app says they're having a bad day. The app is wrong. And I have taken, 6 pictures today and it keeps telling me that the cat is unhappy. So the app is wrong. The odds that could the app be wrong? Yes, for sure. But the odds that the app is wrong are really, really low. The odds that you're misinterpreting their behavior, no, I'm not saying you don't love your cat. We have to hear this information differently. You don't have the tools to interpret their behavior. Because if you study cat science, you know that purring could be a sign of being content, but purring is also a sign of self-soothing to manage pain and discomfort. So you didn't have that tool. It doesn't mean you don't love your cat. It means that human beings this isn't what we are equipped to do. So if you're using the app and you're getting information that you think is wrong, number one, stop and let me just say again, it doesn't mean you don't love your cat. It doesn't mean you're not connected to them. It doesn't mean you're not bonded to them. But the science is really strong that the app has the tools to decode this where you may not. So instead of taking it personally, say, is it possible that I'm missing something?
Yeah.
And what
it's
should I do
always
about it?
possible. Yeah, it's always possible we're missing something. And now I want you to show people how it works. Now, I
Yeah.
would show you how it works, except I have an Android phone, and currently the app is only available on iPhones. Now, I did download it prior to our interview on my husband's phone, and in between him receiving phone calls, I was able to play with it and see how Pico was doing. Now, I have to tell you, it allows you to either do a live capture of the cat's face, or it allows you to pick a photograph. So I started out with live capture, and Pico's was up on his lounging bed, and I lured him down with some treats. And once he was down, I'm trying to capture, but he's moving, right? He's always moving, and it takes 3 or 4 seconds for that capture to actually happen. And I got a lot of blurry pictures of his side, and so then I thought, well, that's not working really well. So I went ahead and took photos of him and uploaded the photos. And of course it said, "Aren't I cute?" And he is very cute. And that he was feeling great today. And then there was one photo that it caught him kind of looking down with his ears a little back, because he was like, "I don't want you to put the camera in my face. I just want the treat." And it analyzed that as him not feeling well. And of course, he was very frustrated with me, because I was like, "No, here, look at the camera, look at the camera," and withholding treats, but he wasn't physically in discomfort. So I want you to show everybody on your phone now how
So I'm
it's
just
looking.
going to show you. You go to your app store first,
Mm-hmm.
and you see somebody else there. I was going to try to show you the logo. It's sort of that little cat.
Like a little cat smiley
Yep.
face, right?
And you download it there. And if you've been using it to update it regularly, because new features are being run all the time, and then you're going to get this screen. You would think I would know better how to do this. I'm sorry. So you're going to get this screen, and there's your
Yeah.
option.
Your live capture, upload photo,
and
and
check your calendar.
and what does the calendar check mean?
That is how things have been going over time.
I see.
So we're going to get to that and why that's important, but sort of the surgery example I told you about.
Yeah, yeah.
So instead of trying to remember, Thursday, Friday was good, and last month, it's all, the data's all in there, which is really a great tool, particularly with cats. So I have 2 sleeping cats right now. I have let's see if we can show you. I
Yeah.
have a tortoise shell over here who's sleeping, and a rag doll over there who's
Oh,
sleeping.
cute.
So since they're sleeping, I don't think it's going to tell me a whole lot. So I am going to use photos of cats that I uploaded from the internet. All right. So, again, we talked about, you and I have been following cats all of our lives. So what do you think of that cat? Do you think, oh, it's not going to use that one. It doesn't like it. All right, hang on. There we go. What do you think of this cat?
I would think that I don't know what it keeps doing there.
You know what? I'm going to show you the cat first,
Yeah.
not on the app, so that it's not getting ahead of me here. But what do you think of this cat?
This cat looks like it could be in some pain to me.
And do you want to explain why?
I think that the eyes, the brow is a little furrowed. The ears are kind of tense to the side. Yeah, kind of low brow. Although I do see poofy cheeks and forward whiskers, but I'm also looking at the rest of the body language. Kind of crouched, loafed right over the feet. So I would say this cat is uncomfortable in one way or another.
So let's take a look at what I would agree with you. And we're going to upload the photo. And it goes through its little process really fast. And it says, "Thank you so much for caring about me. Today is a bad day."
Okay.
Because what Tably is doing is catching that moment in time. So what result I get today, it really is what's happening to me right now. So if you disagree with it, you can test it more than once. but you definitely don't want to think, oh, it's happy today, it's happy for the rest of its life, because it's this moment in time. Or if it's showing you, like your cat had, like, stop trying to take my picture, lady, that then it's showing maybe it wasn't enjoying that, so it was not having a good day, but 10 minutes later it was. So it is a moment in time, right? So but right now, today, I'm having a bad day. Can we talk about it? Some questions might help us make it a better day. So either check again because I disagree and I want to make sure, or it was mad that I was taking its picture, or let's talk. So I'm going to go to let's talk. And it says there are lots of reasons I might be having a bad day. I might be sick, in pain, or annoyed. So first, let's see if this looks serious. Am I breathing with my mouth open, panting, or not peeing? Because if there's any of those things that are happening in conjunction with me showing you that I'm having a bad day, that is like, do not walk, run to the veterinarian. Right. So let's see what happens if I say yes. Okay, it says this could be serious and I really need to go to the veterinarian now.
Okay, interesting.
So I think I'd have to, let's see if I check it again and say no. It should be pretty fast here for what it says. Okay, so we go to let's talk. No, I'm not breathing with my mouth open, and no, I'm peeing just fine. So am I vomiting or have I had diarrhea? Let's do no. Am I eating, drinking, peeing, and pooping? What do you think?
Let's say no. See what happens.
No. I might be sick. Ask your veterinarian what they think, and also check again tomorrow.
Okay.
So we obviously there's no replacement for a physical exam by a veterinarian.
Right.
So you know, if you're showing me based on Tably that you're having a bad day and you didn't eat, or today you didn't poop, how serious is that? Could you just be having an off day and tomorrow you're going to poop and it's fine? So you don't need to panic like you kind of need to panic if your cat isn't peeing or breathing with their mouth open.
Right.
So basically we're saying only a veterinarian can tell you. So definitely check again tomorrow, because if you're seeing again tomorrow that it's unhappy and it's not pooping, time to go, you know. And this is where the calendar feature of how are things going over time is really helpful to mark how things are going.
Now, are you able to store that? So you push the calendar button and it stores it on the calendar, or?
So it is going to, let's see if we can get the calendar. So we'll go to the calendar.
Store it.
If we go back to this page here, there's that yellow calendar button. So I'm going to check the calendar button. Now I have today. So it's Friday, September 9th, 2022. And it's a little hard to see here, but it has the times that I took the picture. I took 4 pictures. They all said bad day. And then it's going to show me the picture that I took.
Oh, wow.
So that's right now what's captured.
So it's automatically storing it in there. And then I noticed on the app too, you can add a cat. So I could put a permanent record in for Pico. And then if I had another cat, I could put a permanent record in for them, right? So you could have multiple.
So the way the technology works, we're differentiating between cats so that the camera doesn't get confused that the information is all coming from the same cat.
Right.
So you can then categorize which cat, what information is coming from. And now you have a visual record of their life.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we talked about the surgery part of it. And some people, I mean, it's the same thing when people have human babies. Some people are like, everything's probably fine. And other people are like, I weigh every diaper and I like need to have my data to feel safe. And so some people might do this every day of their cat's life. And another place where it really makes a difference is end of life.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's ever struggled with the decision of, do I put my cat to sleep? When do I put my cat to sleep? Are they suffering? Am I keeping them alive for me? Like, all of these questions are just beyond agonizing. And I still don't have a way to make that an easy choice. But using this tool gives you some data that is not based on emotional interpretation.
Mhm.
And so if you're saying, well, it's today the day, there's all of our interpretation and all of our feelings, but I also can look at my calendar and say, listen, for the last 7 days, it's told me he's in pain every day.
Mhm.
And I know, for instance, I'm just going to make something up. I know he also has cancer and I can't fix it. I've done everything. I've tried everything. I can't fix it. He looks terrible to me. And the app says he's been in pain every day for the last 7 days. Maybe it's the right thing to do. So there's not going to be, no one comes over and taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, today's the day. But it is a tool that helps you to have more of your own peace in making your decision.
Mhm. Yeah, that's it. And that's a great use. Absolutely great use. And if anybody hasn't already gone out there and downloaded the app while we're talking, while you're listening to this, because I'm sure if you have an iPhone, you've probably already downloaded it and are playing with it and not listening to us anymore. And if you have an Android like I do, just be patient. It will be coming soon. I think they're constantly making changes and improvements and updates to the database and things like that. It's only been out a short while, so it is continuing to be developed, and I think they're waiting to just get a little bit more on the development maybe before they roll it out to Android, but it will be coming. It absolutely will be happening. This is awesome. This is so it's so fascinating, and I can see it, taking a usage on a behavior front too. I develop behavior modification programs for shelter cats that are, extremely stressed. And again, I teach people using that Kessler and Turner 6-point stress score, which does look at, eyes and ears and whiskers and, 5 facial features, 5 body features, and activity and reaction and that kind of thing. But as you said, even those of us who do this every day of our lives, can be wrong. We can guess wrong. So what an awesome tool that would be to have in doing those kinds of assessments as well. And I'm
And
going
the
to do that. i'm
amazing
going to
thing,
I'm going to get one of our volunteers that has an iPhone to
yeah.
download it, and before their sessions, look,
And like,
evaluate each cat.
with that tool, imagine how much more we can learn, because then, for instance, in the shelter, you have people who are super motivated, super interested. They're there volunteering their time. And now I have this tool saying the cat's not having a good day. Why? Like, the things we're gonna start to learn because we have that information now are so incredible. When I graduated in 2000 from veterinary school at the University of Pennsylvania, and we were taught about fight and flight.
Hmm.
Well, it's pretty recent that we now know fight, flight, freeze.
Hmm.
So on my veterinary table, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, if I had a cat who was laying there all tucked up and just being perfect for me, I loved it, because that meant I could get all my information. The cat parent was happy. The cat, I thought the cat was happy. This is great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that freeze is just another side of the coin of fight or flight.
Hmm.
I didn't
Absolutely.
know. So it's the convenient one, but it does not mean that cat's having a good experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we are aggregating these tools so that we can modify our own behavior and what we offer cats and how we interact with them to learn how to be the caretakers that they need. Why put all this effort into trying to do it right when the cat could actually, with this tool, really be starting to speak for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And I assume too, at some point, will they eventually assess the whole body of the cat, or is it gonna just focus
So
on the face?
the science right now is using the grimace score, and the grimace score just evaluates the face.
Okay.
But as science and technology progress together and more people start to accept that it's real and use it as a tool that are not scientists, the you know, research is very expensive, and somehow this stuff has to get people excited about it and somebody to pay for it. And so the more momentum this field gets, are tools to be able to receive information and communicate with our animals. I mean, the conversation that you and I could be having in 5 years and 10 years and 20 years, it would be incredible.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's very exciting.
And the amazing thing about Sylvester, who has developed this technology, is it's free. So if you want to learn about what's going on with your cat, if you don't believe in it, try it out. And if it says your cat is having a bad day, try it again tomorrow and the next day. And maybe you go to the vet. Maybe something's wrong that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Maybe you get the great news that your cat is great and having a good day, and you get that news over and over, and you're like, super, because I'm awesome.
And
Um,
cute.
and cute. And the thing I also love about Tably is it's kind of like playing a game, even though it's talking about serious information. It doesn't feel sciencey. It feels kind of like you're Snapchatting with your cat. You have pictures and text boxes and, you know, interaction as if they were talking to you. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, and taking different pictures of him, and you know, because I was testing it out. I was pushing it because I was quite skeptical, very, very skeptical of it. I thought, you know, I can't imagine it's just looking at these 5 points and really, you know, really giving us an accurate answer. So I kept taking lots of pictures of him and trying lots of different live captures and over and over to see if it would give a different reading. And like I said, the only different reading it gave was when he was very clearly annoyed with me because I wouldn't give him the treat and I was just shoving the camera in his face. But
Yeah, you know, I study behavior too, so I'm super excited to watch this field progress and to
yeah,
be able to sort out the difference between behavioral pain and physical pain. It's a great, great question and sort of a big black box, but now we have a way to, you know, maybe find out the difference and learn so much more, which I to me is the most interspecies communication is to me the most interesting thing in the world. I mean, I have a hard enough time some days communicating with my children or my spouse, and we're all speaking the same language. We're all the same species. No matter how well-meaning I am, sometimes it doesn't land.
yeah,
And I think, you know, how well-meaning I am to my animals and how often I'm getting it wrong. And the more tools I have to
yeah.
have my well-meaningness land so that they are perceiving it as what I intend is just the most beautiful thing of all.
Yeah. And I, you know, I would love to have one of those apps for people because I'm one of those people that's not good at, you know, I can, being a Sagittarian, there's no filter and, you know, things come out, truth comes out when maybe it should just be kind of withheld. And I'll often inadvertently hurt someone's feelings and totally miss the facial cues and the and not know until, you know, maybe there's some distance there or something and I have to go, hey, did I say something to upset you, you know?
Right, like, wouldn't it be
I didn't
great if
carry
you
that
had
app around with me.
like a thing in your phone and
Yeah,
in your necklace. So
there you
it
go.
was, and it would just buzz you like, wrong thing to say.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God, Molly, what did you do? You know,
That's
in the
right.
moment, in the moment. So you really like how wonderful that would be
That would be awesome.
to connect better. And right now we're a step closer with that because of Tably.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you for joining us today. And anything else we didn't talk about in Tably feature that we need to, or I think we got to it all.
I think the thing to walk away with is that the scientific validity of the tool.
Yeah.
So even if it's different than your interpretation, the science is actually more behind the tool than what we know about human interpretation. So just accept it as another tool in addition to your intuition, in addition to your skills as an observer. Add it as another tool, and you may find that you take much better care of your cat. I wanted to tell a quick story for the non-believers. So, to do this, it takes a lot of different people, right? It's not, I can explain it and I can ask some questions, but it's not me. So it took all the veterinary scientists, and it took the founders to even conceive the idea and all those things. But it actually has a lot of technology. And so building the team of people who understand how to build an app, how to use AI, how to ask all the right questions, technologically using AI, you have people in that field who aren't animal people. Their specialty is developing their thing. And another beautiful outcome was that as some of these IT scientists were building the tool, like, cats are actually pretty cool as they're developing it. So one of the people who was really important in developing the tool decided to get a cat because he was working with all this information. I thought it was so cool. So he gets his cat, but he's not a cat person. It's his first cat, and he doesn't really know anything about them. And he's like, picked one out from the shelter, and it looked good and everything was great. And he brought it home and he thought everything was great. Cat's eating, playing, drinking. He thought everything was fine. So he's like, I'm going to try it. So he took the picture and uploaded it onto Tably, and it said the cow was having a bad day. And he's like, that's crazy. So he took more pictures, and the cow's having a bad day. It's like, well, the cat's fine. Took pictures again the next day. Cat was having a bad day. So he took his cat to the vet. Well, because at the shelter, they send them home to you vaccinated, usually spayed or neutered. And so you kind of have a confidence walking out of there that everything's okay. So he's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and spend whatever it is, $75 and going to take the cat to the vet. So he went to the vet, and the cat had ear mites. So for those people who don't know what ear mites are, they're pretty microscopic, little creepy, crawly, horrible things that are invisible to the naked eye. And sometimes there's no symptoms at all, but they're itchy. And you can imagine a teeny tiny little, smaller than the head of a pin, family crawling around in your ear canal. And so he got treatment for it. And he treated the cat, and he waited a day or two, and he used Tably again, and it said the cat was having a good day.
Oh, that's a great story.
So without that, you may never have known that your cat had ear mites. And it's one of those for people who have had allergies, or so, allergies aren't gonna, for the most part, not gonna kill you. It's just like that one other uncomfortable stressor on top of everything else that doesn't allow you to be as happy and fun as you could be. Mm-hmm. And you may never have known. You always alive a grouchy cat.
Yeah.
You could have fixed it if you had had a tool.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great tool. So go download the Tably app today and play with it, because you'll have lots of fun with it. And find them on social media too. I'm sure there's lots of great information there, and pictures and things like that. And thank you for being with us, Dr. Liz. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled to be able to share this and help everybody take better care of their cat.
Absolutely. And thanks for tuning in today, all of you. And until next time, keep calm and purr on.